Part 1. Understanding and disarming anger at stupid things. Why is it that the smallest, most trivial things manage to ruin our peace? You wake up with good intentions, determined to stay calm, and then someone cuts you off in traffic. Your coworker's tone is dismissive, or your partner forgets something minor. Suddenly, all your calm evaporates, your chest tightens, your mind spins, you think, I shouldn't be this angry, yet you are. This isn't about catastrophic betrayals. It's about the ordinary stupidity of human life. The shrug, the careless words, the clumsy mistakes. And here's the sobering truth. When you let those little things dictate your inner world, you hand your power away. It's not the world that owns you, it's your reactions. The good news? You can take that power back. Today, I want to walk you through a Stoic-inspired but modern framework for mastering your anger, not by suppressing it, but by transforming it. You'll see why anger feels so uncontrollable, what's really beneath it, and most importantly, how you can intercept it before it runs your life. 1. The hidden pattern of anger. Anger rarely strikes out of nowhere. It's cumulative. Imagine your emotional life as a reservoir. Every annoyance, traffic, interruptions, disrespects adds a drop. You tell yourself, it's nothing, I'll let it slide. But reservoirs don't have infinite capacity. Sooner or later, one more drop makes the dam break. Think about the last time you snapped. Was it really about that one thing? Or was it the 50th thing, the invisible buildup you ignored all week? The Stoics taught that unchecked emotions become habits. Marcus Aurelius warned that even silent frustrations rehearse anger. If you constantly allow small irritations to go unexamined, you're training your nervous system to explode later. My perspective. I used to tell myself I had a short fuse. In reality, I didn't have a fuse at all. I had neglected leaks in my system. By ignoring them, I set myself up for predictable meltdowns. Once I started treating my irritations like data instead of inconveniences, tracking when and where they arose, I noticed patterns. For example, I was consistently short-tempered when meetings ran over time. Knowing that, I could plan, eat beforehand, manage expectations, and remind myself this is a pattern, not a crisis. That awareness alone reduced half my flare-ups. Practical step: keep a simple trigger journal. Every time you feel irritation, jot the time, cause, and your bodily response. After a week, study it. Where do patterns appear? Morning rush? Work emails? Family interactions? Treat anger like a strategist studies terrain. If you know where ambushes occur, you don't walk blindly into them. 2. The real source of your anger. On the surface, you might be angry at spilled coffee or a slow driver, but dig deeper and you'll often find something else. Unmet expectations, shame, fear of being disrespected, or loss of control. Anger wears disguises. It shows up pointing fingers at whoever's near, but often the true adversary is within. You're not furious at your child's messy room. You're exhausted from work and craving order. You're not mad at the waiter's mistake. You're carrying frustration from feeling unseen in other areas of life. The Stoics argued that emotions are rarely honest when unexamined. Seneca wrote, "Most of what we call anger is grief unacknowledged." My reflection. In my life, I discovered that my worst outbursts weren't about the immediate trigger, they were about identity. When I felt undervalued, I erupted at the smallest slight. Once I recognized this, I could ask myself, mid-rage, what is this really about? Do I feel dismissed, overloaded, invisible? That single question often revealed I wasn't mad at them. I was mad at my unspoken burdens. Practical step. When anger rises, pause and ask, what is this really about? Write down 2 answers. The surface cause, the coffee spill, and the hidden cause, I feel disrespected, I feel overwhelmed. By naming the hidden cause, you reduce its power. You're no longer swinging at phantoms, you're addressing the real battle. 3. Stop taking things personally. Here's a liberating truth. 80% of the things that hurt you weren't about you in the first place. That rude driver didn't even see you. That curt email was written by someone drowning in deadlines. That argument at home, your partner may be processing their own frustrations. Yet our egos are so fragile, we interpret every slight as a deliberate attack. The Stoics had a term for true strength: apatheia. Not indifference, but freedom from needless disturbance. To achieve it, you must stop interpreting every inconvenience through the lens of offense. My insight. Years ago, I kept a mental scoreboard of perceived slights. Every ignored message, every delayed reply, every tone became proof that I was being disrespected. The result? I was constantly bitter. Once I shifted my frame, assuming most people's actions were about their own struggles, not about me, I felt lighter. The world didn't change, my perception did. Practical step. Next time someone annoys you, silently say, "This is about them, not me." Practice the boulder metaphor. Imagine yourself as a rock in a river. Water pounds against it, but the rock doesn't move. That's you. 4. The 5-day test. Our brains exaggerate small problems under stress. A careless comment becomes a personal war. But here's a weapon. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 days? Often the answer is no. That's your cue to let go. This mental filter helps you conserve energy for what truly matters. My experience. I once spent 3 days ruminating over a colleague's sarcastic remark. By the weekend, I couldn't even remember the exact words. What a waste of energy. When I applied the 5-day test, I realized most things don't pass even the 5-minute threshold. Practical step. Write 5-day test on a sticky note at your desk. Each time irritation spikes, ask the question. If it doesn't pass, redirect your focus immediately to something constructive. Deep breath, short walk, or humor. The 5. The pause. Reclaiming your freedom. Anger often feels automatic. Someone says something and you snap. But Stoicism reminds us, between stimulus and response lies choice. That tiny gap is where freedom lives. Pausing doesn't mean weakness, it means discipline. It transforms reflex into reflection. My reflection. I practiced a rule called the sacred breath. Whenever I felt provoked, I inhaled deeply once before responding. It sounded trivial, but it changed everything. That single breath was a bridge from impulse to intention. It was enough to stop countless unnecessary arguments. Practical step. Install a pause ritual. Options. Deep breath, sip of water, silently count to 3. Make it automatic. Train your nervous system so the pause becomes your default reaction. We've now uncovered the anatomy of anger. It's cumulative, it's often misdirected, and it thrives when you take life too personally. But here's the hopeful part. You don't have to remain a puppet of your impulses. By recognizing patterns, digging into hidden causes, filtering with perspective, and creating a pause, you begin to transform anger from master to messenger. Stay with me, because this is where philosophy becomes power in motion. Part 2. Building Stoic Mastery over Anger. 6. Boundaries. Protecting your emotional territory. Anger often arises not because others are unbearable, but because we never set boundaries. When you allow constant interruptions, disrespect, or unrealistic demands, frustration builds silently. Stoic view. Epictetus reminded his students, no man is free who is not master of himself. Part of that mastery is defining what you will and will not tolerate. My reflection. Early in my career, I thought saying yes to everything made me helpful. In reality, it made me resentful. I snapped at colleagues for overloading me when I was the one who never said no. Once I drew clear boundaries, I'm unavailable after 6 p.m., or that responsibility isn't mine, my anger dropped by half. Practical step. Define 3 non-negotiables in your life. Time, respect, and responsibilities are good places to start. Communicate them calmly but firmly. Boundaries don't need anger, they need clarity. Humor. Turning stupidity into a punchline. There is nothing more disarming than humor. Anger shrinks when you can laugh. Think of the last time someone made a ridiculous comment. Instead of spiraling, imagine it as a scene in a comedy show. Suddenly, what was irritating becomes absurd, even entertaining. My perspective. I once dealt with a chronically late coworker. Instead of seething each time, I started jokingly setting his arrival clock an hour late in my head. He's early today. That internal humor dissolved my irritation. Practical step. Reframe stupidity as comedy. You're not mocking others, you're protecting your peace. Practice shifting roles from actor caught in the drama to audience member observing a play. 8. Don't give your power to clowns. Modern culture glorifies outrage. We're told real strength means clapping back instantly. But the truth, every time you let a fool control your mood, you surrender sovereignty. Stoic reminder. True strength is self-command, not loud retaliation. My insight. I've wasted hours being furious at bad drivers, only to realize they never even noticed me. I handed over my peace to strangers who had no clue I existed. That realization changed everything. Practical step. The next time you feel provoked, remind yourself, I won't give my power to clowns. Imagine your calm as currency. Don't spend it on trash. 9. Emotional mastery, identity building. Stoicism teaches us that emotional control isn't about denial, it's about alignment with identity. Ask yourself, do I want to be remembered as the man who cracked under pressure or the one who stayed composed? My reflection, this perspective transformed me. I stopped asking, how do I feel, and started asking, who do I want to be in this moment? That subtle shift reframed every reaction into a chance to reinforce my character. Practical step. Before reacting, ask, does this response align with the man I want to be? Every small victory builds the larger identity of composure and dignity. 10. Daily training for stoic strength. Like physical fitness, emotional control requires daily reps. Here's a framework. Morning prep, journal potential stressors and plan responses. Midday pause, breathe deeply before key meetings or interactions. Evening audit, review moments of anger, note triggers, and adjust. My insight. The days I practice these rituals, I feel unshakable. The days I skip them, I slip into old reactive patterns. Emotional mastery is a lifestyle, not a single decision. You now hold the tools. Track your triggers, name hidden causes, stop taking things personally, apply the 5-day filter, pause before reacting, set boundaries, use humor, and build identity through daily practice. This isn't about being cold or emotionless, it's about being powerful, purposeful, and untouchable in a world obsessed with petty offenses. Remember, you're not just avoiding anger, you're building a legacy of calm strength. So next time stupidity tries to steal your peace, smile, breathe, and lead like the man you want to be remembered as.